I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo with the technician Chris Aceto. We are back live on a Sunday night here, the weekend of the Masters Olympia, where we have our first champion in many, many years, because this show has been, missing in action for so many years. Thanks to Jake Wood, it came back. As we kind of predicted, I think, when we first heard it announced, Kamal Elgargni, at over 50 years old, Chris, wins this show, not in the 212, but in the open division. Surprise?
Way over 50.
Yeah.
Did you say over 40 or over 50?
It was people over 40 could do the show, but he not only did the open division, because he's a 212 guy normally, he did the open with guys who were 40 and over. So, I mean, he really had a disadvantage in terms of age, height, weight, and he still won, which, that's why I got you here. The only reason is to answer, why did Kamal win this show?
Lack of gaps, completeness, muscle maturity, midsection, depth, quality of depth in the poses. So, I mean, there's people with good condition and, dense muscle. But, when you're 53 and you've been doing it that long and your body doesn't look 53, every year technically you can almost get better if you don't look your age and you got another year of training behind you, whether it be 53, 52, 50, 49, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You know what I mean? Every year your muscle tends to take on a denser look until you get old. And old for bodybuilding usually generally is like late 30s, earlier 40s, where people's bodies tend to start to fall apart a little bit. They lose the density. So even though they train like another year, it doesn't look like they trained another year. And I think, those back shots alone is telling you why he won the show. The density in the upper back and the rear delts, and
I got to say something. He moves like a young man. Does that make sense? Does that resonate with you? You know how, like, guys, as they get older, they don't seem to be as fluid on stage,
Yeah. Well, you can just tell by someone's walk that they might be a little bit older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He has no injuries. That's why, this guy.
Yeah. Zero.
Unbelievable. I love his confidence in the fact that he went in, because he could have done the 212 division. He said, look, I'm doing the open division against these guys. I don't care who I'm going up against. And I'll pull some pictures up in a minute, but he had, some good competition. Max Charles, Phil Clahar looked really good in this event. Matter of fact, I thought this might be Max's best look I've ever seen him bring.
Yeah.
And I liked Phil's physique the best, but I think Phil was having some abdominal issues. He had a little stomach bloating issue.
Yeah, I think Max, this is his best in like 2 years.
Right?
In terms of like leg separation, in terms of fullness in the legs to match the upper body. And I think that Phil, I agree with you, had some minor, a little bit of stomach issues. But, the thing is on paper, they're bigger than Kamal, but it really doesn't matter. It matters, of course. You want to be big, but they are, they're wider than Kamal. Technically, they're bigger than Kamal. If you look at like Phil's side chest, you can get bamboozled and think that it's better. But it's still
Max. Look at Max's side chest. It's pretty
Max's
impressive.
Side chest is fantastic too.
Yeah.
I think Kamal puts away, where Max ran into Kamal is just simply the back double.
Yeah. Well, I think you made a very important statement that earlier, before off camera, you said to me, Kamal looks completely different in person. And
Completely.
pictures sometimes don't paint the picture, right?
No, they don't paint the picture, because you also have to consider when it comes to viewing a contest in real life, like this weird, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, this odd idea of like skin texture. And Kamal just has thinner skin for sure, period, than Max and Phil. And that's, some of it might be genetic. A lot of it is because he's always in, decent shape. So it's, if you take the same amount of muscle, or even maybe less muscle, with the same amount of separation, and you put over it the same amount of body fat from person to person, but the skin's more translucent, it creates a different look under the lights.
Yeah.
Because I look at some of these pictures, like like when he's in the middle, sometimes your eye will say like, "Oh, is he big enough?" But he's definitely more than big enough in real life. Like that, and that hands on hips is, even
Good shot.
It's a great shot. I mean, it's a great shot in pictures, and I'm sure in real life it's like, a lot better.
I'm Max Charles looking at the pictures now, because I'm sure these guys would go back and they want to see what they look like. I'm probably pissed off as hell because he's second place here. He's way bigger than Kamal.
Yep.
In the pictures, I wasn't there. In the pictures, he looks very conditioned for Max, right? I mean, he didn't have striated glutes, but I mean, his hamstrings were ripped and he's got some lines in him, and he's got a really good back, obviously. And this is like a good balance between upper and lower body for Max. So a lot of times we don't see that balance. He's got to be mad that he didn't win this show. I don't know. I didn't talk to him, but I'm assuming he probably is not happy about the outcome.
Well, I mean, he's got a ton of rugged muscle. That's why I said, the big. I think I'll go back to where I said, what did Max in, or where Kamal can pull ahead, is when they turn from behind. Kamal has a back double with a lot of detail, and you need a ton of muscle,
right,
to beat Kamal. You know what I mean? And Max has a ton, but it's he's got a lot of muscle, but it's still probably not effective enough under the lights to be able to get by Kamal. I mean, think of it, Dave. Akeem was a lot bigger than Akeem is bigger than Max.
Yeah.
And I mean, the consensus, frankly, was that Kamal beat Akeem too. So he's beaten people who are on the scale who weigh a lot more. And you put tape measures around them, they have a lot bigger arms and shoulders and legs and all that. But this is bodybuilding, and Dexter Jackson won a few contests, right? And he was never the biggest guy there, but he had full depth, mature muscle, and he always had the key body parts, and that's what Kamal has here too. Kamal has very good glutes here, Christmas tree, back detail. Those are all the same things that Dexter would put people away on: glutes, hams, back detail. Biggest guy, no. Best guy, yes.
Lonnie Teep would say that Kamal won the show because he's got the best calves on stage.
Yeah, well, you know what? Kamal's calves are insane.
They're really good. Yeah, they're very good. I can see when you can see calves from like a picture, that the person's got good calves.
It's funny that you notice, because nobody really notices Kamal's calves. They look like milk jugs.
No, they're huge. I'll zoom in on them. Look at those things. Did you see that viral picture going around with the kid with the big calves?
I did. It's my nephew from the aunt.
You gotta find that picture. So, I was looking at the scorecards. I wanted to see how close, the judges thought it was. And, Kamal was unanimous. I mean, it was close between Max and Phil, but it was not close. There was no, it was like unanimous pretty much that Kamal won that show. So I have to believe that he looked really good, in person. Yeah. And I think that's an important point for people to realize. The judges had Kamal winning with straight first place votes. And Max was in second place by a hair, a smidgen after prejudging, and the same thing after the final. So those two guys probably could have flip-flopped. Let me ask you this question. If Phil would have had his midsection under control and it wouldn't have been, retracting from his physique, could he have won the show?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I think he would have had to have been harder than this, and he was hard, but he would have to be harder to be able to push Kamal.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he abandoned what his gifts are, especially for this show, because he had to know that no one was going to really outsize him in this show, because you didn't have, it's not an open show. So conditioning was going to definitely, we knew right from the beginning who was ever going to be the most conditioned would probably walk home with the prize, and we knew for a certainty that Kamal was going to be in shape. It wasn't even, I don't think I've ever seen Kamal out of shape. Have you?
No.
You worked with him a long time.
No.
Yeah. So
I've never been out of shape.
Knowing that he had to be one of the top guys, I think it was a mistake that maybe Phil tried to come in a little fuller and rounder. I think if he would have come in his usual ridiculously shredded self, he might have looked a little smaller, but I don't think it would have mattered because Kamal is shorter than him anyway. And I think he might have pulled it off. But at the end of the day, the judges vote for what's up there, what's staring them in the face.
Yep.
And I think Kamal got the legitimate win here. I see Fred Biggie Smalls was in fourth place. He probably had the best comeback of anyone because he's been out of action for a couple of years. I think he had an injury. I don't know if he tore a pec or something like that.
I coached him for a year, Dave.
During the George years, right?
No, this year. I
didn't know you. Oh, you coached him this year.
Yeah, you can see him on my Instagram. It was how he looked.
Let me pull it up.
I have a good clip from my Instagram where he.
Hold on. Hold on, Chris. So after all the Fred Biggie Smalls,
yeah, I know.
Gossip
we have to pull up the Guru Wars.
Yeah, hold on, Chris. Hold on.
Benevolent. I'm a benevolent dictator.
Chris did it. We did a video. We were in Brazil. For those of you who don't know, a lot of you
show
guys
the clip
probably
first,
remember.
Dave. Show the clip on Instagram.
All right. I don't even know if the Biggie Smalls clip.
Yeah, it's the one Biggie Smalls.
Hold on.
Biggie.
Oh, okay, I got it. I see it. Okay. All right, here it is. That's a Lonnie Teeper, right? Biggie Smalls?
Yeah.
Let me zoom in a little bit.
It's his best condition of his life.
It was funny because I was going to say, but I think Fred was a victim of the fact that he hadn't competed for a number of years. This is a really good look for him. So why do you think he was out of the top three? If you had to
I think you could make an argument for him for third because of just simply conditioning was like extremely polished. Look at the Christmas tree, glutes, hams, blah blah blah.
Yeah, now he looks really good. I didn't know you worked with him. Now, here's the funny. I think Fred needs another year, to be honest with you, because he really was out of commission for a little too long. Sometimes it takes, you get work the rust out.
Yeah, well, he took a while. He had actually won, Dave. This is a show that he was getting ready for a long time, and
right.
He won the Masters World or whatever they had at Tampa.
Right.
But he entered that with I don't know. The day before he found out they were having he didn't Masters. Know. He said, "Should I go?" Of course, I said no. He said, "I'm going anyway." I think that's how it panned out. But
all right, I didn't even know that.
He won that show, but he wasn't really,
wasn't preparing for his.
Yeah, because he's rounder than he was here, but not as as good as he was here.
So now I got to tell the story because so Chris. Me,
Jay,
George Farah, Jay Cutler, everyone's in the lounge. Now, let me just tell you, in
first class lounge, all the bodybuilders.
Well, let me hold on. I got a problem. We were in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, for the Arnold Brazil, and we're coming back.
It was Cedric versus Ramy.
Oh, that's right.
And it was Ramy used to be Ramy was my client, not my client, was my client, wasn't my client. I didn't know if he was. I didn't know if he wasn't.
He wasn't your client for that show, was he?
Cedric
No.
was.
Okay, all right. So he's there for Cedric. I don't even know why I was there. I was there either covering the show for something or someone else flew me in. I don't remember. I'm there. We're all there. And the Rio de Janeiro airport, at least at that time, was horrendous. They had no food in this airport. I don't know why, but if you can get into the lounge, the first class lounge, they had food in there, which it wasn't great. They had drinks. You can at least, I was drinking wine and eating little hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. But I mean, literally, you'd starve to death in that airport. There was no restaurant, so we're all in there because George, has his platinum status or whatever. What does he have? Diamond status?
I don't know.
I don't think George got us in that time. George has gotten me in lounges before.
You could buy away because someone said, "Hey, I wasn't in first class, the first class lounge, and I was like all alone." And then someone said, "If you pay like $70 or something, you can get in the first class lounge."
I think I was platinum at the time because we had been doing a lot of flying, but George was diamond. He was over me. He had like a million miles he did in 3 months. So George is in the last, and Chris gets into this real like shouting argument with George about poaching clients from people. And Fred Smalls is sitting there with his wife. Fred is the nicest guy you'll ever meet. I mean, he would never say a bad thing about anyone, you know. George is like trying to
you can call it up.
George is putting down Chris and saying, how he sucks and this and that, and Chris is telling him he's a liar, and Chris asked him if he's a cop, and then George is trying to he's saying, "Are you gay?" And Chris like, "No, but are you a cop?" And then somehow, how did it come up that you said, that that Fred Smalls asked you to train him?
Oh, I don't know. I went for
he said, well, your client here.
I went for the jugular. I went for the jugular, and I think
he asked me to work with him.
My standing, blah blah blah, was and always is like when if I know someone's working with someone and they fiddle around and they call, they text me and call me and ask me for advice. I've always said you got a coach.
Yeah.
Or but over the years, people like to take my clients, and I mean that goes with coaches. That's what they do. But this day and age is they tell, I'm prepping Dave Palumbo, and they say, if you work with me, I can bring you in fuller. If you work with me, I can bring you in harder. If you work with me, I can bring you in fuller, harder, drier. So I think I had mentioned I have a list of
never get Chris angry. He's not. When he gets angry, he forget about it. He loses it.
I have a list of people who call me, from your camp, and he said, name one, and then Freddie was 4 feet from me, and I said, here's one right here. Stand up. And that
George was in denial of it, and then Fred's like, "Wait a minute, I didn't call you. My wife called you."
Yeah. It got nasty, Dave.
Yeah. Chris is like,
it's embarrassing.
Fred, come on. I have to. You're telling me that your wife called me independently of you. So George is getting all upset.
No.
Anyway, flash forward 10 years, and you're working with Fred Smalls.
Yeah, and he's peeled.
He's peeled. You're right. He's peeled. No, you did a good job with him. Like I said, I think, but if he keeps going, I think next year he'll really look good. And I hope Jake does the show again next year. I think it was.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a one-time shot.
The only thing that scares me is
can I say that on this show? One-time shot, or they demonetize it for promoting anabolics? One-time shot.
I worry because I don't know if he made money or broke even on the show, and sometimes these shows are very expensive. And I know from what people have been saying, it was a first-class operation, VIP all the way. And
Dave, anything that you do that's first class. Anything costs a fortune.
Now, he did do it in Romania, so it might have been cheaper there, and maybe he got sponsors, and I bet you they probably had a packed house there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
I heard. I wonder if Jay hooked up and went and visited Andrew Tate at his mansion there in Romania. Talk business. That's a manager Matt. That's a manager Matt. What manager Matt would set up. He'd set up Andrew Tate meets Jay Cutler, and they'd both monetize it. Jay would make $1 million.
Now, the thing that really made that whole argument with you and George, gave it the title, was that Chris and George were arguing so much that Jay Cutler stepped in and said, Guru Wars, right into the camera.
Yeah.
That's what I named the video.
It was like a cameo by Jay. Like, people didn't know he was in the room until he stood up.
Yeah. Jay did stick up for you against George because, obviously Jay's very loyal to you. And Jay never gets involved usually, but he did stick up for you. Now, Xavier wants to know, did Chris ask about George's company with the 400 employees? Oh, yeah, I think you did, right?
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Xavier. Good, yeah, good memory.
Xavier, too much. It was like Iron Debate before there was an Iron Debate. It was like a preview day.
Oh, I have to say, this. George, we've had a lot of funny encounters with George. Didn't he threatened to shoot you in the foot? Didn't he once too?
Yeah, we've had all kinds of. Yeah, he was gonna put a cap in me, but
yeah. But you know what? If George were here with us, we would be having a ball. Because people don't understand. We argue like amongst each other, but there's really no animosity. At least I don't have any animosity towards anyone. Even Bob Ciccarello, I don't really have any animosity towards him. I might argue with him and think he's completely 100% wrong, but I don't wish any bad ill will on him or anything like that.
The interesting thing is, if you want to go back to the positive rather than focus on what can turn into the negative with George, is if you go back to that show, Cedric was and Ramy were really, really good at that show.
Yeah.
They were both amazing. I think it was a little bit rigged because they sent down the rig master, unfortunately.
Oh, that's when Lee Thompson was there, right?
Yeah, there was a Lee Thompson. Like, Lee had some fiasco going on every year down in Brazil.
Yeah, and wasn't the following year the one that he disqualified Cedric?
No, it was
missing the meeting.
No, that was the year before. It was we're talking years ago.
Yeah.
2013, 14, somewhere in there.
Yeah, those were the good old days. It feels like it was yesterday. That's the funny thing.
No, I know. 9 years ago.
That's when we used to travel a lot. But all right, let's. I want to talk about the 212 class because Hidetada Yamagishi shocked the hell out of me. I got to tell you, because he'd been missing in that. He really hasn't competed either. For quite a while, and he comes back, and he really decimates the field here. What'd you think of Hide? Trying to pull up his video. Hold
on. Respectfully, his condition's really good, and just he's got some tears that throw off. A lot.
But he didn't really have any competition, Chris.
Well, there you
keep
go.
talking. I'm pulling up.
There you go. You got to be competing.
If you think about it, Chris, there's not a lot of guys in the 212 class that are still around competing. I mean, Jose is not coming back. Flex Lewis is not coming back.
No, Correa's not coming back.
No. Yeah, why wouldn't Correa do this show? That would have been right up his alley.
Because they thought he jimmied up the arms at the Olympia, and he's probably done.
Oh, he was old.
His arms are so big they look jimmied. How's that?
Yeah. Because Hide won this show on conditioning. I mean, that's what he won on. He brought tremendous conditioning to the stage, and that's what won for him. How would Hide have done in the Open if he would have been in that Open class looking like this? Would he have been top 3?
I don't know. It's hard to. You got to see these guys next to each other. You know what I mean?
And he still looks. I mean, really good.
Can that get by a third place Phil Clahar? Phil's still.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking your opinion.
Phil's got a big round back, and
Let's check out Phil Clahar here for a second. I see some video of him up on. I just feel like his midsection was a little washed out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was tighter when he won the show earlier this year.
Yeah.
Whatever the show that he won to qualify for the Olympia. It's funny, right. He's qualified for the Olympia, and Kamal just beat him. Well, Kamal's not a 212 guy, but
they should give the Masters Mr. Olympia an automatic Open qualifying spot, don't you think?
Well,
be nice. It is a pro show win.
He's clearly good enough to be in the Olympia.
I mean, he's not going to do anything in the Olympia lineup, but it would be nice just to give him the. See, like Phil is. We're used to seeing Phil with those crazy striated glutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I work with him. I know what he can achieve. I mean, he gets ridiculously shrink wrapped. I think
that's why he was, why he won earlier in the year, because he had that spot on condition. Yeah. I don't know here if he thought that, I'm going to be the biggest guy in the show, right, which seems logical.
I can see it in his face. He has a little bit of puffiness to his face around the eyes and stuff like that. Usually he looks like when you have the skull head, the guy's in shape.
Yeah.
And Phil's not young. Phil's 49 years old. So I mean, I think if he would have brought it down another 3-4 pounds, it might have been.
It would have been closer.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see if we can find the Hide. I wanted to just pull some Hide posing footage, but
how old is Hide? He's no spring chicken. He's not.
No, yeah, he's also he's got some age on him.
He's got some miles on his engine, Dave.
I'm shocked that you think we'll ever see like I'm trying to talk Lee Priest into doing the Masters.
Never do it. He likes to eat too much.
I think he misses. I really think he misses the stage. I said it doesn't even matter, Lee. He's all worried about because one side looks a little smaller than the other side. I said all these guys are beat up a little bit. Every single guy in this Masters Olympia lineup had something wrong with them. Okay, it's just a matter of hiding it enough. That's all.
I was going to say, except Kamal.
Yeah, except Kamal, who has no injuries at 50. What is he, 52, 51?
53.
Oh, my God. This guy's unbelievable. He's one of these guys that will keep going until he's 60, probably.
Yeah, well, he's got to be considered one of the most successful bodybuilders simply because he had a tremendous amateur career and then went away for a while. And
very long amateur career. Too.
Yeah, and when people go away for a while, he didn't go away for a year. You know what I mean? He went away for a while, and when people go away,
he had a band. Rafael Santo abandoned.
Yeah, when you go away, you can't. A lot of times you can't get it back, especially over 40.
Chris, there's that kid with the calves. There's your there's your pupil.
Yeah.
I want to see his father's calves.
The point is, Dave, is that he's won the Arnold, he's won the Olympia, he's won the Masters. He's highly competitive in open shows. Texas, Tampa. I mean, this is an open show, obviously, but it's Masters Open.
Yeah, he's not a guy who just shows up once in a while. He's actually more active than the younger guys.
Yeah.
Which is, a testament to the fact that this guy is still doing it at the highest level.
Yeah.
I mean, how many guys can say that they're still competing not only once a year at a high level, but, several times a year?
No one.
No one. Exactly. No one. Let's see. We're trying to still find the Hide footage. Let's look at the Max Charles here for a second. I think it's the Max footage.
Pulling the back. Really I don't think he ever pulled the back in before.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying I think he really looked. He's really hard here. This is a very good Max Charles. I mean,
front leg separation's good,
and his legs do not look small at all.
Nope, side chest is very good.
A lot of people thought he should have won the show.
Yeah, well, he's bigger than Kamal, but here it is, right here. It's the back. It comes down to the back.
Back poses. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's you got to weigh out everything, and his back looks pretty good. It's just that Kamal's is just like perfectly put together.
Yeah.
And then Kamal's Christmas tree versus Max's is there's a big gap there. So
Max has got what all guys over 40 have. They have a little bit of that skin fold on their lower back.
I knew you were going to say that.
And Kamal doesn't have it. Kamal doesn't have it. Kamal has the best skin I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. Kamal doesn't have Kamal. some guys just don't age, and I think that it's just you got to just accept that. So, and that's why bodybuilding comes down to genetics at the end of the day. We all hate to say it and hate to admit it, but it's really the truth.
Well, I mean, you need genetics, but genetics are useless without hard work. I would put money on Kamal's hard work over everyone in the lineup. Just that nobody. It sounds like pompous, like, oh, how dare you know? You don't know how other people work. Yeah, but I know how hard Kamal works.
Yeah,
it's just different level.
He's still training at that level. Yeah, it's funny, but we don't think of sometimes of classic as being as competitive as the open bodybuilding classes like 212 and open. But yeah, I got to tell you, I think the guy who might have looked the best in the entire show was Alex Cabernero, who won the classic division. I think he's probably the most complete physique on stage, and he's shredded. He's got everything. Neil Hill did a great job with him.
Yeah, he's Alex doesn't really. I mean, didn't he win the Arnold one year, or did he get second?
He won the Arnold in the classic.
Yeah, he's he gets a little bit overlooked. It shows, and I think where the overlookedness comes from.
Where?
Nothing. Well, he's very good everywhere, and that in some people's eyes that's like a detriment. In other words, he doesn't have not one single knockout shot, but he has shots with everyone else. I'm talking about like when he's in the classic, not the Masters classic.
Right. Well, he's like a Sean Roden. I mean, he's over 40 and he's still bringing his best to the stage.
Yeah. So he doesn't have a knockout shot, and because he doesn't have a knockout shot, it's easy for, I think, sometimes in big shows for judges to think like, oh, this guy's better or that guy's better. And the fact is his strengths are that he doesn't have a knockout shot. Not that he doesn't have one. In other words, he compares with a lot of people, on every shot really well. There's not many weaknesses there.
No, that ab thigh shot is deadly. And you know what the funny thing is? There's some guy writes in the comments he needs to learn to pose. Slow it down. I love how we have these experts. I think the guy's one of the best posers around. And
too fast. Slow it down.
Yeah. All the experts. all the geniuses who like the internet geniuses or the social media geniuses, I should say. The gurus.
Everyone's still buying Bitcoin too.
Yeah.
It's going to go back to 100,000.
You don't have any more Bitcoin left.
That and AMC is $2. I think it was like $100, like the movie chain.
Yeah.
I think that and GameStop. I think they're all all expert peddled.
I refuse to buy anything investment wise. I tell people I learned my lesson. I invest in myself now. That's it.
Yeah.
You invest in yourself, you got no one to blame if you lose the money.
That's why, Dave, you have to have up on your desk, you have to have species instead of like Coca-Cola or Pepsi products, because you invest in yourself.
That's right.
Even though some people don't like you to advertise your own products.
God forbid I do that, right?
Yeah.
Rashana Boswell won the women's Miss Olympia, or Miss Masters Olympia, I should say. And our good friend Eric Brozier trains her. We're going to be getting her on the show this week. I want to give her I like to give the women bodybuilders some publicity, but she looks good. That she did real well. Women's bodybuilding lineup, I think, might have been in better condition than the men's open.
Well, I mean, they're always peeled because they'll do like 9 hours of cardio if needed.
Yeah. Yes, they will.
Right?
What did Iris tell us when we used to interview Iris? She would be like, "Yeah, I do 2.5 hours of cardio."
Yeah. The most I heard in LA, someone was doing 6. I'm trying to think who that was.
6 hours.
6 hours of cardio a day. I'm trying to think who told me, "Oh, I do 6." I'm like, 6 what? I thought it was 6 sessions a week. It was a female bodybuilder. It might have been Hallie.
If you have to do 6 hours of cardio, then you're obviously cheating on your diet just a little too much.
Oh.
Unbelievable. Let's see, who's this? This was our Oh, we had a Brazilian women's physique champ. Let's pull her up.
Of course.
The Brazilians are dominating everything. They're dominating that wellness division. They're dominating the women's physique.
Yeah,
Ivy Rain.
Yeah.
Pull her up here. Hold on a second. Give her her props. Her props. No one covers the women anymore, right? I don't know why.
Because, I mean, they don't even, who covers what now? I mean, who covers even the men?
Yeah, because you know what? I don't know why people are not in. When we were competing back in the day, the women bodybuilders, everyone knew those girls. So look at that. Look at those glutes.
Yeah.
The Brazilians have some serious glute genetics, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Look at that.
She's definitely the most conditioned person in the entire show. There's no doubt about that. Men and women. Bodybuilding is really popular in Brazil now. How are the women perceived over there in Brazil? Are they also celebrated or not as much as the men?
I don't know. What do you think? Probably more than they are here, right?
Well, you've been over to Brazil. I mean, you've worked with Brazilian people so many times. I mean, so you would know that.
Yeah, I mean,
more than I would.
I think they're respected.
Yeah. How would Juliana Malacarni have done in the show?
Well, she has still has the best physique, essentially.
Yeah. You think we'd ever see her come out of retirement, do Masters Olympia? She's got to be close to 50.
She probably just needs prodding because it's in her bloodstream.
That's what I'm saying. Who saw her? Someone told me they saw her training at the gym.
It was me. It was me.
Oh, you did. You saw her. You saw her. That's
when
right.
I went down with my son to see Andrew Jack at Bev's gym, she was the first person I saw when I walked through the door, and I told my 17-year-old son, I said, "This is how women train in New York." And I said, "There's a housewife," which I was right. It was Juliana. I didn't know it was Juliana, and she was doing lunges with like 40-pound dumbbells in each hand, and she was going back and forth in the gym, and her delts were capped, and her legs were big, and I didn't realize till we were leaving that it was actually her. But I don't think, Dave, she would need much prodding.
I think that this is right up her alley, because you know what, she's an Olympia champ, so now she doesn't have to. Why compete with the girls that are like half her age? She might as well just go and do the Masters and just get a little.
She has enough muscle and fullness on her body now. All she has to do is get on a diet.
Yeah.
What's it called when there's like a reluctant politician and he doesn't want to run? They do not a draft, but a
recruitment. They recruit him. There's the footage of Hide I was looking for.
Yeah, he's tight.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah, I'll throw a stereotype. Asian men and women age very well too. The guy doesn't have he has maybe one wrinkle on his entire face. He looks like he's 35 years old.
Well, they definitely. I think they live longer, right?
Yeah, when they live only when they stay in Japan, not when they come to America. It's the Japanese diet.
It's the diet. That's a perfect example. It's not the genetic. Is it not? Yeah. Is it? I was assuming it was the genetics. You just knocked that down and said it's the diet, right?
Yeah. No. Well, I'm sure Hide was. Look at those abs. Still, he's still got great abs. Hide was obviously trains with Iris over at Powerhouse Gym there. I know. So I mean, you have a 10-time Miss Olympia, in your corner there. It doesn't hurt, pushing you, because he's got to train, Chris. He's got to say to himself, "I got to train as hard as Iris," because otherwise Iris is going to call me like a pussy or something like that. Because Iris would do 3 hours of cardio easily if she had to do it, to get in shape. So Hide's, with Iris every day at Powerhouse Gym there in Vegas. So he's going to train his ass off, get in the best shape of his life. And I'm sure he wasn't probably in his mind ever thinking that he was going to compete until probably, he probably said, "No, I'm going to do it." And I bet you if he continues going from this point on and maybe goes another year, we'll probably see we'll see a guy like a Hide probably doing like open shows maybe.
It's funny. It's odd that when you couldn't cross over, like that he or David Henry wouldn't have, thrown their hat into the Masters as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, I think he would have done well. Unfortunately, I think they had to pick one division to do. But
Yeah.
David Henry, I'm trying to find a picture of him, but he didn't look quite as good as we've seen him in the past. I think he's, he has leg problems. His upper body's always good.
Yeah, I think his legs might have been a little bit down, but in his midsection was a little off. He used to have the super tight midsection, so
he might not have, had any intentions of doing it either until the last minute. It's hard to tell, who jumped in or who's been training a whole year for the show. I'll tell you, Vinny Galante has been training the whole year for the show. He was really hoping he could do it. You know who impressed me? There was a guy. I have a friend of mine who sends me pictures of people. He's like, you got to see this guy, Michael Lynn. He's
I know
who
Michael Lynn is. I know.
You know him?
Yeah.
He looked really good. Really, really good. And not that many people know him.
Yeah.
He definitely showed up for sure. I mean, he was 7th place, but
yeah, not bad.
He's pretty good. How old is Sergio now?
Oh, maybe 38, I think. 37?
I thought he was
36? 36? No, he's younger than.
Okay. Are we going to see him on stage again?
84, 94, 14, maybe 38. I don't know. You have to ask Neil Hill.
Oh, he's working with Neil now?
Yeah, him and Brendeo.
These guys switch around like they're buying new brands of soda.
Yeah, but I'm bringing Good Vito to Italy, Dave. So everyone watch.
Oh, that's right. Speaking of Good Vito, this was the classic Physique. Oh, hold on, I don't have it up on this. Oh yeah, I do have it on the screen. This is the classic Physique final pose down right here. Alex Cabernero, Luis Garcia Martinez, Kelvin Hindi, and Ross Caesar. I think Cabernero just destroyed this. Cabernero has a 20-year-old's body. He doesn't. His midsection doesn't look like he's in his 40s. His skin doesn't look like he's in his 40s. His face doesn't look like he's in his 40s. And I think that really plays to his advantage here. Now, Italy's coming up in what, 2 weeks? We said
2 weeks.
And it looks like it's turning into the Regan Grimes show. Everyone's talking about Regan for the show. He's been looking really good. I know you're helping Good Vito. How did that relationship start?
Somebody, his sponsor said, "Who would you like to work with?" And he said, Neil Hill. And they said, "No, really." And they said, "Oh, Chris Aceto." I'm just kidding. He said, "Who would you like to work with? We'll hook you up with someone to coach you." And
that's nice. That's
cool. I was surprised that he even knew me.
Yeah. Is Nathan Diasha doing the show too?
Yeah, Nathan's doing the show.
So it's going to be a good lineup. I mean, Regan definitely put a tremendous amount of size on, and Nathan, is always crazy danger. I think there's some footage of Nathan. Let me see if we can pull that up. And let's see what Nathan looks like. Do you have any Good Vito footage?
No, not to show, but I sent you the Good Vito photo.
Yeah, no, I saw him. You look good. You look good. Here's Nathan. He's always dangerous. He's another guy who's dangerous because he has good tie-ins with midsection's crazy. He gets really lean all the time, and so it depends on, is he going to fall off the top of his gym and break his leg, or is he going to get arrested? Because for some ridiculousness for keeping his gym open during during COVID. Or is he going to not have a passport? He always has the worst luck when it comes to competing, and he always misses shows because of that. Remember, I think he missed the Olympia that one year because he couldn't get a visa because of the whole COVID thing. He just has terrible luck. Now the only thing he's got going for him is the shows in Italy, so it shouldn't be too hard for him to get from England to Italy.
Yeah,
not that far. He can almost swim there if he had to.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that it's a Yamamoto show.
Yes.
Don't tell me he's sponsored by Yamamoto.
Well, he used to be, at least. I mean, I don't know if he still is, but let's see. Let's check his Instagram out here. Yep, Yamamoto. So that's good for him.
There you go.
That's great for him.
He's a favorite then.
Well, he is a freak too. So I mean, when he first turned pro, I was convinced this guy was going to be the next Kevin Levrone. I mean, he looked like Kevin. He had a lot of shots that were similar to Kevin's, and he's done very well in his career. I mean, the guy is super talented, but he's had a lot of like little mishaps and setbacks along the way. So
Reagan and Raphael beat him at the last couple shows.
Yeah.
That might not have been his best, but they did beat him.
Look at if I had that width, Chris, I'd still be competing today if I had that width. That's like Jay Cutler with a really tiny waist.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. It's about 3/4 of Jay.
Well, size-wise, he doesn't have the size of Jay, but he's definitely wide.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I think that show's going to be a good show in Italy, and it's interesting that we're seeing like guys like Regan go over there from the United States. Usually these European shows are all the European guys competing against each other, and the reason why the show is going to be so deep in competitors is because it's an Olympia qualifier.
Yeah,
it might be the last. Is it the last one?
I think so. It might be. Maybe the Legions. I don't know. Maybe the Legions.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, Chris Minnis shows. I don't know. Is the Legions going to be soon enough for these guys to qualify?
I think so. Yeah, I think it is a qualifier for this year.
That's good. Now, once again, I see Nathan, Regan, Good Vito, all guys who want to go to the Olympia, who probably deserve to be at the Olympia, and only one of them's going from that show, at least. Which takes us back to our original statements earlier in the year. Why did all these great guys wait till the last minute to compete? I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, it's in Good Vito's case, it's his first pro show. So
he doesn't have any. Right, it doesn't even matter if he goes to the Olympia or not.
Yeah.
He just wants to get his feet wet.
Yeah, no, he's going to get them wet.
Nathan should be at the Olympia, and so should Regan. And one of them probably won't unless they come and do the the Legion show, like you said.
Yeah.
So, and with Nathan's luck with getting passports and visas.
Yeah.
He better win it. Nathan better win Italy, or he probably won't be going anywhere.
Well, even getting to Italy, I think he's had issues like in the past. I think like getting
he better drive there. That's all I know, or something, because he may never make it. So I don't know. We'll see. As they say, all flights should go through Dubai, right? If you fly to Dubai first, you can go anywhere in the world, right? Yeah. Isn't that the way it goes?
I think so.
Everyone goes to Dubai first, and then they go where they want to go. And that's how you get to the only place you can't get from Dubai is the United States, but you can go any place else in the world from Dubai. If you want to get into the United States and you can't get in, just fly to Mexico, and you can just walk across the border in Texas there.
When I flew Dave to JFK from Texas, I haven't been to JFK in a while since it's been remodeled. It was a junk hole before.
Is it nice now?
Oh yeah,
I haven't been there in a while.
Beautiful.
I know they're redoing LaGuardia.
Waiting to go back and see it ruined in like 4 years.
Yeah, they're supposed to be redoing LaGuardia because Jimmy the Bull delivers topsoil there. He has to drive all the way out to like the end of Long Island, fill up a truck of topsoil, and bring it all the way back to LaGuardia Airport, which that parkway is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Or it can't even go on the park. The Long Island Expressway has got to go the whole way. And I'm like, what are you doing with this topsoil? He's like, well, they're planting plants around the airport. I said, they got to get dirt from Suffolk County to bring to LaGuardia. He goes, I think you get the best dirt there. I said,
yeah.
they got a lot of other shit to worry about at that LaGuardia Airport than what dirt they're using to plant the trees there.
Yeah.
And, it's unbelievable. They probably are paying 100 times what the dirt is probably worth, I'm sure.
Well, just think of the transport costs that they're paying Jimmy the Bull.
Right. It's probably $500 a load every time.
Yeah, exactly.
And he'll do 3 loads a day sometimes. It's crazy. What they're doing over there. So, I'll one of these days I'll go back to New York and I'll see what it looks like. But I don't have any recent plans to go there. That's for sure. So, but I will be at the Olympia. I'm definitely planning on going to the Olympia.
Oh, super.
Assuming they don't have us on lockdown again. Because did you hear these new rumors now? They're all gearing up.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's locking down nobody.
I don't think they'll lock
this
us down.
country will never, ever lock down again. Ever. I don't care if it's like
I'll bet you New York and Florida and California will. They don't care. They'll listen. They're
the country. There'll be states that are just like, no.
Florida won't. Yeah, we won't.
Maine will be the first to lock down.
Yeah.
I'm Governor Mills, and we heard that the variant is affecting people, and we need to put on triple masks and lock everything down and put everyone out of business.
The funny thing is, now we know. It's funny. Let's go back, flash forward backwards 6 months. Everyone was talking, people were talking about on all these podcasts I watch, what a bunch of morons we were. We believed what Fauci told us. The masks we now know don't work. They don't. Most people who had half a brain that they didn't work anyway. I knew they didn't work anyway, but whatever. Masks don't work. It was dumb. They actually were counterproductive because you're breathing into this thing. It's not good for your oxygenation in your body. The second the government tells everyone to wear a mask, you'll see everyone wearing masks again. All the sheep scared out of their mind wearing the mask.
Have you been out of that basement of yours that your Bob Ciccarello says it's not really there?
That's right.
People, when I flew back from Texas, Dave, a lot of people had masks on already. I'm dead serious in the airport. And not because they're traveling internationally, because a lot of people had masks on.
He goes walking along the water line. There's like a boardwalk there. You think people are outside walking with masks on? He said, he's like, I feel like going up to them and saying, why are you wearing a mask out in public?
Yeah.
You're in the fresh air. There's no one around you. What do you think? You think the stuff is like just circling you, like trying to like a heat-seeking missile?
Yeah, gonna land right on you.
Unbelievable. People are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I wanted to congratulate Jake Wood on a great job. Well done over there promoting that show. What I really like about the fact that the Masters Nationals took place, and not just
Olympia,
the fact that they brought it back.
Olympia, not national.
Masters Olympia. Thank you. Was the fact that they actually held it in another place, another country for the first time. Thank God. I'd love to see the Olympia in another country just once, just for the heck of it. I mean, put it in Dubai or Qatar or, one of these Middle Eastern places where they'll roll out the red carpet. Just once. We don't have to do it every year. Just to it's like the Olympics. You should be able to bid on the thing. That's how Jake can make money from this thing.
What? Let other people bid and just let
country bid.
Dave, that's a good point. Since he owns it, right?
You do whatever you want.
Put it out to bid, and people from Dubai, we're gonna say. Then Jake can say, "Gosh, just giving it to them, and them winning it gives me more money in my pocket than actually having it."
It's like WrestleMania. They should take a page. Jake should take a page out of Vince McMahon's playbook, because the Olympia. Okay, if you're a bodybuilding fan and you go to the Olympia, you want the Olympia experience. When I go to WWE wrestling, okay. The second I walk in the front door, all I see is paraphernalia that they're selling, wrestling paraphernalia, snacks. The minute I walk through that Olympia door, they should be selling Olympia this. I mean, Jake should be branding everything with Olympia this thing. He should be selling Sandows with, he should be selling replicas of like all the Mr. Olympias. He should be selling T-shirts and sweatshirts, and they should have so much paraphernalia, because people who go on vacation and make the Olympia a destination trip will buy anything because they want something to remember the trip by. Yeah. And they're missing the boat. Ask Vince McMahon if he makes more money on ticket sales or if he makes more on all the paraphernalia they sell there. And
merchandising. They did sell the Sandow one year, and Aaron Singerman bought them all up.
No, but I mean, people go there for this stuff. They should have protein shakes at the snack bar there when you come in, and let different companies sponsor it.
Yeah, Dave, you're right, but at the same time, Jake is, let's see, he's in it 19, 20, 21, 20. He's only had 4 of these under his belt. the first one you have no idea what you're doing. The second one you learn from the first and you correct your mistakes. The third, you're just getting a little bit comfortable, and the fourth, last year, you're like, okay, I think we got it. So
no,
it takes
they're putting on a great show.
Comfortable.
They put on a great show, Chris. Yep. The show itself is tremendous.
They only have it at 3 in the morning, though. That's
I'm trying to tell them. I think what they need to do is you want the fan experience to be really good, and you want to make money too at the same time. The better the fan experience is, like if people go home and say, look at all this stuff I got, not just free samples from the booths, but I got stuff I was able to buy that says Olympia. I'm going to wear my Olympia jacket. I'm going to wear my my Olympia hat. I'm going to wear my I have my Sandow on the mantelpiece. I have my Jay Cutler little statue here I bought. My Ronnie Coleman freaky, muscle head statue. People want to go home with the remembrance, and they're going to have such a good time that they're going to want to come back again next year.
Well, the experience also besides that is at the end of the day is, and I think that you correct me if I'm wrong, is it for VIP ticket holders only, but getting to meet the people, competitors there's nothing like that, because even in wrestling, you don't get to meet the wrestlers, You get to get near them when they're wrestling, and you get to buy the stuff. But the whole experience of the weekend, besides watching the show, is, it's an opportunity to actually get up close and personal with, like, Hadi or Derek or Nick Walker, and have those guys say something to you, actually, like hello.
I mean, they have the meet and greets and stuff like that in the booths, and people can meet the athletes. They do a good job at that. That's good. But I think they got to do more with branding. They almost need to hire like a marketing guy, like who's going to just market the hell. And you know what? If you bid out the Olympia to different countries, okay. If I'm Qatar, say, like you saw what they did with the World Cup, and I buy the rights to hold the Mr. Olympia competition, I'm going to roll out. I'm going to make people want to say we are the best. This is the best Olympia of all time. And the country will throw money into it. You know what I mean?
If Qatar or Dubai got the Olympia, forget about it. The production value would never be duplicated.
Jake would be making money before they even.
Yeah, that's what
one
I said.
Person
there'd be more money in brokering it than having it. That's what I said.
I know he might. That's what he should do. He shouldn't even want the responsibility of it. And then the judges are still going to be the same judges. It's going to be Weinberger and Tyler and all those guys are going to still go in there and judge the show. But I'm talking about running the whole operation. I think that they should bid this thing out. I think it would be humongous. I really do. I think you'd get countries like China that want to hold it. You get countries, all the Middle Eastern countries would want to hold it.
China's economy is starting to crater, so I think they're out.
Well, you might do it in Hong Kong or something like that. I don't know, or Macau. We went to Macau.
Yeah,
it's part of China, but it's it's like Vegas of China. They have all the same hotels that Vegas has there. I think that that's something we should. Hopefully, Jake is listening. Maybe he'll get the idea and see if he can make that happen.
You could have the soap opera writer write a storyline for us.
There you go.
You know who the soap opera writer is? That's Vince.
Vince has got something like 20 writers, Chris. They write all the scripts for everything. You know what? But by the way, speaking of WWE, if you want to watch a good interview, it just came out today or maybe yesterday. Hulk Hogan is on Joe Rogan. And you can watch, if you go to the best of Joe Rogan clips on YouTube, you can watch Hogan talking about, all the old days of wrestling and there's some crazy stories about how the industry got going and how Vince really got going, because it was all fragmented. There were different parts of the country ruled by different, little wrestling czars. And Vince's father, Vince Sr., stayed in his territory. But when he sold his territory to his son, Vince Jr., the Vince we know, he told him, he said, you better stay out of these other territories. And Vince said, screw this, I'm gonna go everywhere. So Hogan, they were sending Hogan to like Puerto Rico and all these different territories where guys were like threatening to kill him if he came back, type of thing. I mean, you know, it was like it was dangerous, you know, back in those days.
Yeah, when you're stepping on someone's livelihood, right? Someone else wrestling, you know, gets.
But look how he changed it. You know, he changed everything.
I call Vince the ultimate soap opera writer, right? Because before he had 20 writers, he'd just write the stuff on a piece of paper.
They probably wrote it themselves. Exactly. Who could afford to have all those writers initially? I mean,
yeah.
But he got it right. You know, he figured it out. And I'm not saying, look, bodybuilding is a sport, so you can't treat it like too trivially, because then it kind of makes it a joke. But the marketing aspect of it, I think, and the fan experience. I'm telling you, I went to one WrestleMania in Texas with Romano back. This has got to be 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And we went to the day before, 2 days before, there was like an expo, like the Olympia Expo would be, which was great. You know, it's kind of similar. You meet the fan, you meet the old time wrestlers are there signing pictures, and then they had the night before, they had the Hall of Fame ceremony. So they would induct people into the Hall of Fame. It was a whole huge arena they had it in, which wouldn't be a bad idea for bodybuilding either, to have like a Hall of Fame inductee and have these guys come up and give speeches.
Yeah.
And then the following day was WrestleMania, which was insane. And when you walked into that stadium there was 100,000 people in there. It was absolutely nuts. They must have made millions and millions and millions of dollars between selling, you know, food, paraphernalia, T-shirts. I mean, they probably sold, 200,000 T-shirts that day.
Yeah.
It's a massive. And I think that bodybuilding, I'm not saying bodybuilding is going to get 100,000 people to watch it, but you know, in the Middle East, they could pack an arena with 10,000 people easily, probably 20,000 people.
Why don't you become a broker? You got to call up Jake Wood and Dan Solomon and say you're going to be the broker. You're going to bid it out all over the world, Dave.
They'll say, Dave, I don't want my hands in anything. I don't want any money from it. I just want to put the idea out there. That's it. Because then they'll say I'm profiting somehow. I don't even want to profit. I just want to see.
No,
I just want to see the sport grow.
Who would be the two people who said, who appointed you?
Yeah, exactly.
Sean and Bob.
You're right. All right. We're going to wrap up today. Congratulations to all the winners at the Masters Olympia this past weekend. Congratulations to Kamal Elgargni. You got your Olympia title you've been dying for, and it's in the open division. That's pretty good. You know, look, Vince Taylor, how many did he win? 4 Masters Olympias?
No, I don't know if he won. He won
3 or 4.
Yeah, he won it, and of course Dexter won it last. You and I were there in Florida when
Robbie won it. Who else won it?
The guy who beat.
The Youngblood won it.
Youngblood.
Who won it? The year did Dexter win 2 of them or 1 of them?
Dexter won a couple, I think. Yeah.
I think he won 2.
Florida, yeah, back to back.
And I think that's it, right? I don't think there were any other.
No, they didn't.
Robbie Robinson won the first one.
Yeah.
And then it was Vince Taylor for all those years, won a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Youngblood won that last one, and then they stopped it, and then Jarka brought it back. I think Dexter won 2, right?
Yep.
And now Kamal. So I mean, it's a small list of guys who won the Masters, Olympia. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So,
look, you know what? He wanted to be immortalized in our sport, and I think now he is. If he retired now, I don't think anyone, I think that people would remember him, and at least he's in the record books. If you were voting for a Hall of Fame, would you put Kamal in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, unanimous vote.
Based on what?
Based on he was the oldest Olympia winner. He was the oldest Olympia winner when he won the 212 Olympia.
Right.
I think he was 48.
Interesting. How old was Dickerson when he won the Olympia?
Younger than Sean Roden, who was 41.
So Roden was the oldest at the
Roden was the oldest open, and Kamal was the oldest 212, legitimate. 48.
True. Yeah, and now he's 53, and he won the Open Masters Olympia. So yeah, I mean that. I guess those little accolades definitely would warrant a Hall of Fame induction for sure.
Yeah.
At least as far as a 212 competitor is concerned, I would say yes.
Well, I mean, he won the Arnold, he won the Olympia, he won this, he won the World Championships.
Right.
It goes on.
That's true. He won how many World Amateur Championships? Like 7, 6 or 7.
Lots.
So yeah, I admire him, and you know what? He's the nicest guy you'll meet. He's very pleasant. He doesn't badmouth people. He's cool to hang around. He's always got in a good mood. I don't know if it's an act. I don't think it is. I think he's a pretty.
He's got kids, Dave. So throw that in.
Yeah, yeah. How old are his kids?
Oh my gosh.
You got young kids too?
Yeah, he's got 3 young ones, and
so he's crazier than I am.
2.
Because he's competing with the young kids.
That's hard. He's got 4 kids.
Wow, that's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, I think the oldest is 17 or 18, and they go down to young. You know what I mean? Young, like 6 might be the youngest. Or
kids will age you, but they'll also keep you young because you got to run after them. So
yeah.
All right. I'll let Chris has been tired since the minute we started, so I'm going to let him go. I got to get up early with the kids. Thank you guys for joining us live today. It was fun. I miss doing it live. Sometimes Chris and I will do it in the morning, and we'll broadcast it live, later in the day. But this is actually a live rendition of the show because the Masters Olympia let out late. If you want to watch my wrap up, there is a wrap up also on RX Muscle, and I'm sure at some point I'll get Kamal on the show during the week to talk about his victory. For now, as we say every week here with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
It sure does. We'll see you guys again next week, same time.